Also, Curtis Sliwa, thank you so much for joining us here on News 12. I want to just jump right into why we're having you on today. So you are claiming former Governor Andrew Cuomo bribed you to drop out of the mayor's race. Just walk us through it. When and how did that conversation go?
These calls and actual conversations have been occurring steadily ever since it was determined that Andrew Cuomo's strategy for trying to beat Zoran Mandami was to first eliminate Eric Adams and then eliminate Curtis Sliwa from running so it could be a one-on-one race. That was documented in New York Magazine. He's actually said it. His surrogates have said it. So we know clearly that that's what's happening with Eric Adams, the mayor. In fact, he announced earlier today he's basically going on vacation the next few days. He's been in the Candidates Protection Program. There's actually been a milk carton in the New York Post with his face on it. Have you seen Eric Adams? We're 40 days out of a campaign, and he has been invisible on the campaign trail. So I'm sure he's in the process of trying to figure out if the price is right for him to drop out. In reference to myself, these overtures were made by people that I've known over the years. They're obviously Cuomo supporters, and they offered millions of dollars for me to basically not run the campaign, to drop out. And the only person who has ever dropped out in this race in any capacity is Andrew Cuomo, when he dropped out as governor and he fled to the Hamptons because he feared impeachment. So he's the king of dropouts. I'm not dropping out. I can't speak for Eric Adams. And as I've said over and over, you can't buy me, you can't lease me, I can't be sold, I can't be rented. There's 40 days left, and I'm campaigning every step of the way, all throughout the city, in the subways, the buses, the places that all other three candidates don't go.
Absolutely. Now, I do have to ask, are those bribes coming directly from Cuomo's campaign and his team, or is it from allies of his that are maybe contributing to this campaign?
These overtures are made by allies of Cuomo. They clearly are helping him to try to clear the field. They are assisting him. They're supporting him. And this has been verified by a longtime Cuomo supporter whose own wife was his Secretary of State when he was governor in Albany. That's the journalist Herson Barrero, who is regularly featured on Spectrum's New York One. He was also the editor of El Diario. He said, I know for a fact that these offers were made. I know some of the people that actually put in calls and made offers. So you not just have Curtis Sliwa, you have a Cuomo supporter and lifelong friend whose wife was his Secretary of State when he was governor for about a year. This is well known. I'm just saying it needs to stop. From this day forward, I said I will record any and all conversations that exist if somebody is offering me a bribe to drop out. It's unethical, it's a bribe, and it might well be criminal. So it needs to end. 40 days left in the campaign. Cuomo needs to get out into the streets and campaign like I'm campaigning, and obviously Zoran Mandami's campaigning.
Absolutely. No, I know you mentioned moving forward, you're going to be recording phone calls and any sort of correspondence with anyone even mentioning a bribe. Do you have any proof now of that bribe? Were you able to record those conversations?
I have not recorded any of the conversations. As I have said to these men, look, I've known you a long time. You have families, you have businesses. You might be thinking you're doing the right thing, but it is unethical, it's a bribe, and it may be criminal. Lose my number. And I say that to everybody in the future, except now I will be recording the conversations and I will be reporting these activities to the appropriate authorities.
So we did reach out to Cuomo and his campaign to get his take, and other outlets are reporting that he's denying your claims, even calling you a liar. Does this come as a shock at all?
First off, he is the same Andrew Cuomo who, when he was in the Hamptons with the billionaires, said that he was having conversations with President Trump about getting me out of the race. That's a fact. Then when he comes into New York City, he says he's the only person that can stand up to Trump when he occasionally campaigns and denies ever talking to Trump. The liar is Andrew Cuomo. This is typical Cuomo tactics. He needs to understand that the people will determine who the next mayor is. I'm happy and satisfied with that. Let the people vote. The billionaires will not determine who the next mayor is, and the professional political class will not. This is classic Cuomo. I challenge him to a lie detector test. Strap us both up next to one another. Ask us the same questions, and I guarantee you, when he has to ask that question, if he, through surrogates, tried to bribe me out of the race, we'll all be blown to kingdom come. So you better run for your lives. This guy's a degenerate liar.
Some powerful words there for sure. Now, I do want to switch gears and kind of talk about one of your opponents across the aisle. Yesterday, Mamdani reportedly said of all the candidates in relation to these bribery claims that he trusted your word above all of the other candidates, including Cuomo and Adams. What is your reaction to that? Did you expect him to say something like that?
No, I didn't expect any response from Zohran Mamdani. I think this is the general focus when you look at polls, that people respect my character, they respect my compassion, they respect my honesty. And let's face it, in the political world, honesty is something you can't buy. You have to earn it. So he said he believes me as opposed to Eric Adams, who says he's campaigning and we know he's not, and Andrew Cuomo, who says he's not talking to Donald Trump, the president, and we know he is. So that's probably why he made that decision. My job now is to get out there and indicate why neither Zohran Mamdani, Cuomo, or Eric Adams are capable of being the next mayor. They are poor on law and order, quality of life, public safety, hiring cops. We've seen Zohran Mamdani stumble and mumble his way through those questions. He loves answering questions about affordability and the cost of living. That's how he won the Democratic primary convincingly over Andrew Cuomo, he just doesn't understand. It's a new generation out there with different needs than the generation he came from. And so I'm up to date with Zohran. I'm in the same neighborhoods. I have millennials. I have Gen Zers. I'm campaigning on the issues that are strong for me. He's campaigning on the issues that are strong for him. I leave it up to the voters to make their determination. Why can't we just have a vote? Whoever said that billionaires and the political class gets to determine who the next mayor is? That's not what elections are about. That's not what our republic is about here in America, or the democracy, the right to go and vote for your candidate. And win or lose, unlike Cuomo, who said he would leave to Florida because he's the king of flight. Remember, he drops out every time he doesn't get his way. He'll flee to Florida. I'll stay and I'll fight for what I know is right. And I'll become Zohran Mamdani's worst nightmare on a regular basis. But Andrew Cuomo suggesting that I drop out when he's the only one in this race who ever dropped out as governor and fled to the Hamptons, where he spends most of his time. So, Andrew, come on out, campaign in the streets, get into the crowds. You seem to have a phobia about wanting to be with people. No mayor will be elected unless they're out there with the people. I can tell you just from the history of elections in New York City.
A contentious race for sure, I mean, to say the least. Now, I do have to ask, you earlier mentioned the Trump administration. President Trump has weighed in on the New York mayoral race. I mean, having had roots here, right? He's weighing in on Mamdani, on your race. I have to ask, have you had any conversations with President Trump or his administration about the bribery claims at this point?
No, President Trump has had no conversations with me, members of his family, friends, administration. Nothing has been offered to me by the Trump administration, even though that's been repeated over and over again by Team Cuomo, hoping that that might nudge me out of the race. We know that President Trump has had a lifelong relationship with the Cuomo family. That's fine. He's had conversation with Eric Adams. He saved him from being prosecuted for political campaign contributions that were illegal. That would have put Eric Adams in jail with Bobby Menendez That's the president's business. I might not be his choice as candidate, but I am the Republican candidate and the only one. And the time to have challenged me would have been in a primary. Nobody has. And I had the support of all the county chair people, the support of the state chairman, Ed Cox, the support of Maliatakis, the congresswoman in this area. I don't have detractors. So I will run as the Republican. And the other line is the first ever independent protect animals line, which calls for no kill shelters and animal abusers being put in jail. That's that's pretty much what Donald Trump was making fun of. The love that my wife has of rescuing cats before they are to be destroyed and euthanized in shelters. And he actually did me a tremendous favor. I don't think he realizes how many voters out there, mostly Democrat, some Republicans, independents, one thing that unites them is their love of animals. And boy, it has really coalesced the animal rights people around my candidacy, even though they might have said, I'll never vote for a Republican. But this Republican I can vote for on the first ever independent protect animals line. So I think you're going to see a surge of voters from a group of people out there who can sometimes be single issue voters when it comes to animals.
There's going to be a big voter turnout, that's for sure. I want to ask you one quick final question here. Recent polling is showing that you are currently in third in the race for City Hall, trailing right behind Mamdani and Cuomo. What are you doing to make your campaign more competitive as we're in a time crunch right now ahead of November's race?
Sure, 40 days out. But when Cuomo was 40 days out with Zoran Mandami as the two leaders in the Democratic primary, he was close to 40 points ahead. By the end of the election cycle, he lost by 13 points. Polls were wrong then. Polls were wrong about Trump and Harris. They said it would be neck and neck. It was a blowout for Trump. He won the 7 battleground states and he won the popular vote. So I think most people are very suspicious of the polls. I know where my votes are coming from. Republicans, independents. Poll after poll indicates that I am most favored by independents that have double the number of registered voters to Republicans. Some moderate Democrats who are not happy with the 3 Democrats running. Zoran Mandami, who is like Bill de Blasio on steroids, and Eric Adams and Andy Cuomo, who are Zoran Mandami light because they actually agree with a lot of his policies. And so this independent animal welfare line, Protect Animals, will get me a surge of votes that will get me elected mayor this time around. It's an untapped resource of voters. They're mostly women. In this particular election cycle, I'm the only candidate talking about women being abused, both in a domestic situation, in the subways, in the streets, victims of randoms attacks, sexual harassment, the pervs that are out there. My very first TV commercial featured my wife, Nancy. I didn't say a word in the commercial. She laid it out. And this is something that the men in this campaign have not even addressed. And I believe it will resonate with women who are the majority of the voters, who are the majority of the workers in New York City, who had single parent households and have to pay the bills and raise the kids. And most importantly, end up being the workers in nightlife that is so important in New York City, and the managers, and in some instances, the owners of the bars, the restaurants, and the nightclubs. I believe that I am the candidate that best represents women's interests in this campaign. And I think we're going to see that by November 4th.
Curtis Sliwa, thank you so much for being with us here on News 12. I mean, this is going to be a very tight race, and we look forward to seeing a large voter turnout and look forward to speaking with you again a little bit closer to the general election in November. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for keeping everybody alerted out there as a resource in the neighborhoods, because a lot of people get their neighborhood news from your channel, Channel 12.
Thank you. Local matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.